So I think a big difference would be an institution that young learners can get involved with, and they can see their progression over time. So that gives a framework where companies can get involved with the educators and the learners and help set realistic challenges for them and give exposure to what happens in the real world and how we deal with technology in the real world. So whether that be science, whether it be hardware, or whether it be software, they can help create the challenges that will bring real life experience to the learners as they are progressing and continuing their education. Also, if it's a staged approach, then it allows the young learners to feel a sense of progression and look to the next target, and they've got something that's comparable to everyone else. So it will also help standardize or get some kind of view of where people are at and how interested they are in technology. So for me, it was at school, and it was my choice of GCSEs and A-levels. So I was looking at the different opportunities of what I could study, and I was interested in maths. And when we started looking at A-levels, the college that I went to had a practical, hands-on programming element to their computer science A-level, and that element of solving problems and being able to be creative with software and just lose myself for hours in a problem was something that really appealed to me. So being able to do that in an educational context just seemed like a no-brainer. And that's where you excel. You excel when you have something that's a natural fit with what you're interested in doing, and you have these opportunities to do it within the educational context and with a path that you're going down to achieve the next goal. Absolutely, yeah. So obviously we did the theory side in the classes as well, but the more interesting bit was when you actually create and build and produce something as part of your education. So, from my perspective, I absolutely agree. Certainly in the software development world, I know many excellent developers that have purely hands-on experience, and they never went to university to learn the theory. They actually did start with apprenticeships and learned to program and write code by working on real projects and having guidance and mentoring from the more experienced colleagues they were working with. I do think there is an element of theory that you have to learn, but you can build that over the course over a period of time. I think specifically with software development, it's a very hands-on, pragmatic skill set, and you learn by doing in that scenario. So I think that's a great opportunity for companies. For small companies, I think it's not free and it's not cheap to provide the mentoring for the small company. Even for a large company, it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to mold people in the right direction. But I do think the skills that they'll come out with from an apprenticeship will be much more suited to the way that we write software in corporate environments and for large companies, rather than the academic approach to writing software where you don't learn the industrialized practices of how to make it work reliably and repeatably. So the only way you can learn that is by doing it on the job. But there does need to be an element of, it can't cost the companies a lot to do this. So the apprenticeship model, where it's sort of either free or very low cost to get people involved, is great. I do think the energy that some younger people can bring to more experienced heads is very useful. It helps them think again about how they're building software, and the mentoring process helps more experienced people as well, helps them think again about how they do their work. But the interesting element is the cost side, and also how to get them working on real projects. So we do a lot of work on client sites. There might be a challenge there around bringing apprentices onto a client site where we're projecting a brand where we're extremely professional and experienced, and we bring on people who haven't got any experience. So for us, that's a challenge. But if it's more widely accepted among our clients and large businesses that apprenticeships are a way of educating people within software development, then that stigma will go away, and it should be a lot easier for us to apply or to move in that direction. Possibly financial support, but more likely our clients' acceptance that it's a good good use of our time to be doing that on their projects. So a really nice model that might work for a company like Equal Experts, where we have extremely experienced people, is actually probably having the apprenticeship program run through the client that we're working with, and have their apprentices working with us. So we can be delivering software for the client, and we can also be training up their capability for the future. And that, for our company, is a really interesting model, because we only primarily work for our clients. And so then, rather than them seeing the engagement as they're paying for us to train up our staff, the much better approach is they're paying us to deliver software for them and train up their staff. And that is a much more of a win-win situation.